Hello everyone out there, welcome back to Life is a Bowl of Cashews, where life is sweet, salty, and a little nutty. I'm Brian Hull, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Paul! Hello, human.
Now, let's talk about some randomosity! Hello everybody, and welcome back to Life is a Bowl of Cashews.
I like how you said it.
The bowl of
cashews.
Yes. We need to answer our question from the last podcast.
What was the question?
You asked, what's your favorite season of the year, whether that be summer or winter? And we had a lot of responses.
We did?
Yeah, we actually quite a few responses.
I actually didn't check because I forgot, because I have no memory. I literally forget things unless I'm on it. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so we said we would give our answers at the beginning of this stream.
What were their answers, though?
Surprisingly, I saw mostly winters.
Okay.
From what I read.
I don't want to give away my answer yet.
I could be missing a couple. I think I saw one or two summers, but I thought mostly it was winter.
Okay, all right. What's yours?
Mine is winter also.
Winter.
Really? I thought you would be summer.
Why?
Because
that's the devil season. That's when the devil shines. I don't like that season. It's too hot.
Oh, it is so hot.
My boobs sweat. My butt sweats. My head sweats. My places and crevices in your body that you do not know existed sweat.
Yep.
And then people want to go to the beach.
Yep.
Ew.
Yeah, you do not like the beach at all.
Ew. And then when you go to the beach, there's sand in places that you don't want sand in.
I don't like sand. It's hard and rough and coarse and gets everywhere.
Where's that from? I have to ask
the audience will know. That was from Star Wars Episode 2. Oh. Because a lot of people joke that, Anakin just doesn't like sand. That's the whole gag.
Oh, okay.
People make fun of it for that reason, because that's the peak of dialogue in Star Wars Episode 2.
Oh, okay.
I don't like sand.
I haven't you and Lisa and a couple other friends can quote movies and remember them. My daughter has been able to do that lately. I don't know how to think about that, but I can't do that.
I think I influenced.
You can't influence it. It's fine. I don't know how people do that because I cannot remember. I mean, there are certain things that stick out to me that I'm just like, oh, that's funny. I'm going to remember that.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll be going through a show. Like, I know you were going through The Office, and you'd be saying a quote to me that I didn't remember.
Yeah, because it was fresh in my mind.
Yeah, whereas it's been a while since I've watched the whole Office.
Now
and
I
you
forgot
were like,
all the quotes.
You said something. I forgot what it was, and I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that episode.
And now if you ask me, and you did a quote, I may remember it.
Do you remember Scott's Tots?
That I remember. Because that was the saddest, meanest thing and the most stupid thing anyone could have ever done in their life. Like, who in their right mind would go to a school and do that? That is wrong.
And then he was just like, I can buy you a book.
Or a battery pack. I brought you battery packs for your laptop. And, it was only, a handful. And there was, 30 of them in the class. Horrible.
I don't know why. I think that might be one of my favorite episodes. That and the fire drill that Dwight tried to...
The fire drill with the cat going into the ceiling.
Save Bandit! And Dwight's like, oh, no. What do we do?
And he lit all the doorknobs, heated them up super hot. All that
Touch the doorknob. If it's hot, that means there's a fire. What does warm mean?
I like when he goes on the, crawling on the floor. That was great, but Scott's Tots was a flippin' worst, man. It's funny, but it's mean.
Oh, yeah. If that happened in real life, it'd be very sad.
That would be
hysterical on a show.
All over the news.
Yeah.
That would be a mess. But yeah, Scott Tots was funny. What was, Kevin's chili was pretty good.
Kevin's chili was really good
Kevin's chili was pretty good. And then...
Okay, we're just on the topic
senator
now.
Was funny, though.
Favorite Jim prank on Dwight?
Actually, it wasn't Jim.
Oh.
No, it was... My favorite prank to Dwight, period, was Asian Jim. That's the best thing I've ever seen. The way they did that was perfect.
That was great.
You could not. I mean, she pulled it off beautifully, and I'm like, that was good.
That is up
That
there as
was
one of
good.
my favorites.
Yeah,
my
that's my
absolute favorite one, though, is whenever Jim took a bunch of Dwight's stationaries before he went to the other branch and started faxing him messages from future Dwight.
Yes. That was actually pretty
The
funny.
poison is coffee today. the coffee is poisoned today.
Right.
For it to come later. No! Slaps the coffee out of Stanley's hand. You'll thank me later.
I liked the robot, the robot.
Yes, when he's like talking.
Yes.
When Jim is like DMing him.
What was what did he say? Like, I am. How did he say it?
Just like, who are you? It's like,
Yeah.
I am Dwight. Who are you?
You.
It's just like, I do not know. I just now got
Yeah.
consciousness, but I think I'm supposed to destroy you.
That was classic.
How do I know you're not Jim? And Jim like got up and left, and Pam was writing him.
I'm like, how stupid are you? That was that interaction was awesome. But then I loved how the relationship kind of grew. I thought that was really
it was
cool.
really cool.
They
I also
transformed
really
that
loved
well.
when Jim dresses up like Dwight.
That was funny. That was funny.
Michael, identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. That was pretty funny. Yeah. So if you ask me to quote things, I can't. They just have to kind of come to me. But you guys can just quote movies, and then like, oh,
there's
that was
some of
funny.
them I
And
can
I'm like,
do.
how
There's
do
some
you
like
do
I
that?
could quote the entire movie from beginning to end right now. Not all of them, but there's a couple I can
I
do.
don't have that ability.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I think you probably made room in your brain for like actually important things, like, how to do your taxes, and, like how to actually function as a human being. Whereas I can quote every word of Horton Hears a Hootie.
You can't do your taxes?
I can do my taxes. I did them for quite a few years before I got help, but
I love that. That's stupid. All right. Question.
yes.
I want to ask you a question about a question of a question.
Wow, is this like questionception or something?
This is questionception.
Okay,
Not really.
questionception. I'm
Okay.
ready for questionception. Questionception.
I can't
It's
say
weirdly, it's kind of like a tongue
Questionception.
twister. It's a
If
little
you
bit of a tongue
separate the
twister.
words, you're good. But if you put them together too fast,
Yeah.
it just stops you right there.
Questionception. Questionception.
I could say question.
Questionception.
See, I stopped it right there. Nope. Question.
Ception.
Oh my gosh! I have to think about it.
It's hard, isn't it?
Question. No. Question.
I almost for a second said, "Audience, let us hear you," and I'm like, "Wait, we can't hear them." I was about to turn this into like
question.
about to turn this
No.
into Dora.
How do
you guys say
questionception?
questionception?
Hola.
All right.
Hola. Me llamo Dora. Can you say questions? I can't.
I wonder if we have
can't
any
say
younger
it
viewers
either.
that don't even know Dora.
First of all, if you don't know who Dora the Explorer is, and Boots and Super Cool Exploradora, yeah, I don't know who you are. Because that show.
Because I realize that's so
Hold on,
ubiquitous
hold
to us.
Hey, girly, do you know who Dora the Explorer is? Yeah, you do. My daughter knows.
Oh, okay. If she knows, then most young people.
My
probably
daughter's
know
visiting the studio, Brand Studio today.
too. Yeah.
She went, if you could hear her. Say hi.
Hi.
There you go. Okay, so Dora the Explorer is the best, and I like Boots. Boots and Super Cool Exploradora. Yeah, yeah. Dora.
Okay, so you had your questionception.
Oh, sorry. Question. I can't even say it. Questionception. VR
Yes. Virtual reality.
is a thing.
Yes.
Apple is supposedly releasing their VR AR headset in spring.
Mm-hmm.
Meta, Facebook, has had it out, the Quest Pro and Quest, all that, forever.
Yeah, the Oculus.
I have an Oculus. I know you have an Oculus.
Yep.
Knowing with our experiences in the Oculus, my first question, so don't take too long on it, sir, because I have some answers too.
Okay.
First question is, would you ever work in virtual reality based on your experiences?
Define work.
Like an office, like what you're doing now with me, working in a virtual reality environment. Would you work, like, not maybe recording or filming, obviously you can't do that yet, but like everyday administrative tasks.
Like if I had a 9-to-5 cubicle job,
If
would
you
I
had
do
a
that?
9-to-5 cubicle job, would you
VR?
go into VR and do it?
No.
Why?
Because I feel like that's not reality. It's not
virtual
reality.
reality.
So I want my regular day-to-day job to be in my reality. So it's like, yeah, the reality is like I'm sitting in my studio right now. I see my studio and I see all the stuff that I've decorated my studio with. And I'm going to work on my computer, which is technically a virtual space, I guess. But when my entire work is virtual right now, I want as much realism as I can.
Well, that's, yeah.
Because I'm dealing with stuff like, posting stuff to social media. My entire job
whole life is
that, or it's studying film to then commentate on, to do voice work for those studios. My output is virtual, so I would like my input to be real.
Okay.
See where I'm going with that?
Yes, I do. Ooh, that was a questionception.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it from your perspective because I don't see it that way. Obviously, I don't work in a virtual space. If I had... So in my current line of work, I could technically transfer to a VR environment. However, there's not enough clients or patients for that. But in my field where I am now, in the organization I'm with, no, it's impossible. Not impossible. It's not doable. But I see it from a perspective of escapism because sometimes you're in this bland, dry office with nothing around you. Your view is concrete and pavement. You have one tree that's barren. Yeah, it's kind of sad.
I could see people wanting an escape from that. Because, yes, that is very different. Because I said I'm in my studio and I like to see my studio, but that's because it's my studio.
Right, and I totally get it, but you work in a virtual environment.
And I have 100% free range, and my studio is, well, people see it, they don't even call it a studio, they call it a man cave, because let's be real here, it's basically a man cave. Yeah. So, I mean, I get to work in a man cave that most men wish they could have, except for all the cartoon characters. They probably don't want that. But
you don't know that.
But,
yeah. But I see it from your perspective.
Oh, no, and I can totally see it from the other perspective.
Place. Yeah.
Right, and that would make me think that if every day you're going to work and you need escapism just to get through your job, there has to be some sort of problem in there?
Well, I mean,
I don't know, though. That would be my assumption.
I mean, when I used to work in an environment that was very unhealthy for me, I didn't like the job itself.
Yeah.
So no amount of VR would have helped me.
Yeah.
But if your only issue is the environment, but not the environment being the physical environment, not the social environment, but the physical environment, and it makes you kind of downtrodden, and like, this is just a bland, like, it's like when I worked in the jail, right?
Yeah.
That was a scary, bland environment. It was intense environment, right? It's not meant to be beautiful. It's
literally a jail.
Yeah, it's not meant to be gorgeous. It's meant to be not very attractive. But
I mean, I was scared. I had to drop you off one day.
Yeah.
I was scared just dropping you off.
And it's nice outside because it's a ranch, but it ain't nice pretty. But let me tell you, like, the social environment, I loved my colleagues. I loved working there. It was fabulous. But if I had just by myself in that nasty environment day in, day out, I don't know if I could do it. That would be... that's where I'm like, okay, but could you do VR in a jail? No, you get killed. But you bump into a concrete wall, hurt yourself, fall off a thing, it's a whole thing. But to go back to just the physical environment, yeah, if it was just drab and that was your only issue, okay, I can see how VR would help. Social environment, nah, that's not gonna. VR is not gonna help you.
No, but then that would bring up the question. You were talking about the social environment. Wouldn't the fact that you're having on this VR headset and everything, wouldn't that detract from your social abilities? Because, you wouldn't really be seeing these people. I'm assuming if you could see the people in there, you'd see them as an avatar.
Right.
Which just, that is uncanny valley to the nth degree. Mm-hmm. So would you neurologically be like perceiving this as an actual person, or it's just like another avatar, like your character, like in a video game, and this is like an NPC that you're conversing with, that I feel like there'd be a big disconnect.
So there was a person that I knew when I worked at a long time ago before I was a therapist. There was this person I worked with, and they played a game. I forgot what the game was called, but it was one of the first, like, kind of, ooh, hit the mic. It's one of the first games that you, like, created your own life. Like, you created your own environment.
It's called, like, Buddy Space or something?
It not that, but something along the lines of, like...
It's like a VR chat room.
Like a VR chat room, but that you create your own environment. You create your own world, right? Like, that's what it was. And then you hung out with other people in this virtual space that they've created, you've created, and the gaming company has created, right? So common spaces.
Yeah. And
this person played it 24/7 all the time. And let me tell you how real it became for them, okay? Like, because you're talking about that neurological disconnect, okay?
Yeah.
That psychological disconnect here. It became so real that one time I came in and I was talking to them and I'm like, hey, what's going on? Ugh, I have to go to the bank today. And because I was relieving them from their, from what they were doing, I was taking over. And they're like, oh, I have to go to the bank today. And after I go to the bank, I have to go over here and blah, blah, blah. It should be pretty easy because so-and-so is going to help me with this. And then I could pretty much just fly there from where I am. And then after I fly there, it's like I actually probably could take the underwater tunnel over to the bank. And then after the underwater tunnel, I could just fly back to my house and just kind of relax from there. And then I'm thinking of going to like Japan on a later date, but I'm like, what? Now, mind you, this was an airport we worked at, so I was thinking, like, I mean, technically you could fly anywhere, but I'm like, what do you mean fly to the bank? And underground, are you going somewhere? Like, I'm thinking...
Because, I mean, there are underwater tunnels.
Everything she's saying is not impossible, so I'm like, what are you talking about? We live in Los Angeles. and this person looks at me and goes, well, yeah, and names her physical world she created. I forgot what she called it, but like Avatar, right? Or Pandora. Names it and I'm like, that's not a real place. Brian, she 100% was so disconnected that she truly believed. She actually had to call out of work and make it a whole thing because it was bad. It wasn't that bad. Truly believe that she was going to the bank, getting money out, flying, like physically flying without a plane, just by herself back to her house. So yes, there was a huge disconnect from reality. That could present to be a real problem because if you're in that environment 24/7, your brain's going to start thinking this is real.
Yeah, which that's what...
And VR makes you think that sometimes, even for me.
Yeah, and I just... That would terrify me. The prospect of that happening is just too terrifying for me to even... consider doing VR like full time.
Well, look at Ready Player One, the movie Steven Spielberg.
Yeah,
they lived in such a desolate world that VR was their only means of escape.
But it became too much of an escape.
Reality.
Well, that can happen with any escapism, but that even more so.
Yeah,
because I mean, you focus too hard on escapism, then it's really hard to do your normal life because all you want to do is live in your escapism world.
Yeah.
And, I get how that can happen, which is another reason why I'm totally against VR on a daily basis all the time. Every so often, it's fun.
A couple hours, that's fine. VR is cool, AR is cool, but...
Well, even then, like, when I do my VR, I can't play it for more than, like, 2 or 3 hours at a time.
I get a headache.
Because then I'm like, oh, well... I'm just kind of done. I'm like, all right, I need to go back to the real world for a little bit. This was fun, but I need to take a break.
And it's true. Like, I only can do it for so much. Okay. That's my question about the office space.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's talk about AR, augmented reality.
Yeah.
Okay. Apple is, like, pushing VR, AR headsets. Their want, from what I'm reading in Apple articles and stuff like that, kind of like the experts in this area, is Apple wants glasses or something along those lines that blur the line between AR, VR, and reality. That's what they want. You put these glasses on. They're not like a whole VR headset, but they're going to start pretty big and go kind of Google Pixel-y, kind of like Google Mirror. What was it called? Google? Forgot. But anyway, would you live in an AR environment. You're still in reality. It's just augmented.
No.
Oh, see, I would.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that because it's still reality to me.
See, that's where it kind of is with me. I know how I am with my escapism, and
I know how you are with your
you know how I am with my escapism too. As long as it's relegated to I can only do it in this certain time, in this certain place for X amount of time, then I can relegate it really easily. Mm-hmm. If I had it all the time, everywhere I went, oh my gosh.
Did you say relegate?
Yeah.
It's regulate.
Oh.
I was all like, wait, what do you say?
I thought it was relegate.
Did you? Oh, have you always said relegate?
I guess so. I don't remember ever saying it with you before, but
funny.
Yeah, I've always thought it was. I thought there was regulate and relegate. They were two different things. Are they not?
Are they?
I don't know.
I don't either. Wait, look it up.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Wait, regulate and what did you say? Relegate and regulate. Okay, look it up. I don't even know. Now I'm all confused. I thought relegate was like I'm relegating you to something.
Well, relegate is a word.
Yeah, that is a word. It's 100% a word.
Well, I guess it kind of worked in the context I was talking about, so it wasn't exactly what I thought it was. But it is the past tense of regulated. So it says consign or dismiss to an inferior rank or position. For example, they aim to prevent women from being relegated to a secondary role.
So relegate is like I'm relegating you to something. Regulate is regulating like your emotion or your mood or whatever.
Yeah. So I meant like I was putting my escapism into a secondary role. So I guess, it would be relegate.
So wait, you're saying relegate, or are you just using that? Oh, I see you. I see what you're doing.
What?
Nothing. Okay. So regulate versus relegate.
I'm
gonna say relegate and regulate, and I don't care at this point. All right, moving on.
I don't really care either. Either way, I can put my escapism into a little box that I only go to when I'm like, oh, I need a little break. I will do that. Then I close the box and I put it up. Then I will go live reality. And then when I have that opportunity again, I will pull it back out, have a little bit of fun, then put it back in my box.
In your box.
There was a little bit of rhythm that put it back in my box.
Can I get a box for my ranch and my salad, please? Okay. I'm okay being an AR because it's still reality. That would be cool if it was augmented. I could be like, oh, that's going on over here, and have things kind of pop up in my peripheral, my vision, and be like, oh, that's cool, that's happening. But there is a scary piece to it because it's all like, so I mean, anything can be abused.
Of course.
And so, like you said, there are people who are, and like me, I have done some of that to an extent. I'm unable to regulate, for me, some things. So, yeah, if I guess living in AR, no. But being in AR in like in a temporary state, I'd be okay with.
I guess temporary, sure, but I'm going to be honest. Even for a temporary, it just doesn't sound appealing to me specifically.
Oh.
I've been able to have like some minor VR stuff with my AR stuff with my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a few things like when I was playing Pokemon Go,
mm-hmm.
you could actually switch on the AR filter. So like you could see a Pokemon like where you were, like it would pull up your camera, and you could see like a little Charmander
mm-hmm.
like on the sidewalk, and you could like move it to like get it where you wanted to make a cool picture. So it's like I didn't even like having that on.
Wow.
So you can turn the AR off. And then it's just, they put like this little cartoon background with Charmander like in a little forest. And that's what I always did because I don't know, maybe I'm just being overly cautious, but I'm like, no, real world is real world. Video game world is video game world. The two shall not conjoin. The two shall remain separate.
Did you say conjoin?
Yes.
You say words that are fancy. Okay, so... Yeah, I don't know.
But I realize this could be that could be just a me thing, and obviously there must be some sort of demand for it if this many companies are trying to bank on it. But personally, I just look at that going, no. When I go walk out on the street, I want to see the street. I want to see the world as it is, and I want to experience the world as it is, and then when I've had enough of that, or I need a break for my own mental health, then I'll go into my escapism. But I don't need that in my reality.
I think that can also, like, yeah. I mean, I don't see that as bad, like wanting to escape to kind of be in your own space. So
well,
you're like,
no, that's not bad at all.
But yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
But I guess for me, the escapism that I already have, I feel is more than sufficient.
Yeah.
And I like having it that separated.
Right.
Like, I will play my video games, but I'm not gonna, I don't want to see my video games in my real life. I want my video games on my screen in its little box, and it stays there.
It stays there.
Yeah.
No escaping, little game. Don't escape.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. All right. Then I would like the audience to answer VR versus AR. Which one do you prefer, number one? And number two, would you be able to work in it or live in it for at least 8 hours?
I could not do either.
8 hours, no. 2 hours, yes. Anything limited to like 2 to 3 hours, I could probably do. What if Disneyland or amusement parks went AR?
I still wouldn't want that.
What if that was like the
I
only
think
way
they're
you
actually
can
working on that right
experience it?
now. I think they are actually working on that right now.
I wouldn't be surprised. What if that was the only way you could experience it? Like,
if that was the only way...
No, the rides would still be there. The physical rides would still be there. But, like, if you did not have your AR glasses on, you would not be able to fully experience the ride.
Then that's fine.
Or fully experience even walking around the parks.
The walking around bit hurts me, but, like, on a ride, sure. Like, it's like 3D glasses on a 3D ride. Sure.
Gosh.
I'll totally wear that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but that's, again, it's confined.
Yeah.
But when I leave that space, I'm like, okay, I'm at an amusement park. I see amusement park things. So we're good. My reality is I am currently at an escapist place that is still technically in reality.
What is your feeling on, let's say, this is just an example, Disneyland, Disney World, wherever.
Okay.
The only way you can experience characters was through AR. Like, they got rid of all physical characters. Everything was animated based, cartoon, through your AR lenses. That was it. That's the only way you could experience characters.
Then how are you actually interacting with them is my question.
You're not. It's just basically them walking around, saying hi to you, like, but you can't take pictures with them. You can't, all that goes away.
It would basically be that game that I played on YouTube, the Disneyland Adventures. That's almost exactly what that game was.
It would be very similar to that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I would not want that, because it's like, that's, Disneyland Adventures is a cute little thing, but it could never replace actually, like,
Physical.
Yeah. And, I'll be honest, if I'm going to Disneyland or Universal or something like that, and I'm not filming a video about it, I almost never meet the characters. I know this is going to surprise a lot of people, but I really don't. To me, it's like, I really only do it for work purposes, or if someone I'm with really wants to go see them, I don't mind. But if I'm going by myself, I probably won't meet anybody. Just because left to my own devices, that's not my thing. But even then, I would extra stay away from a not even real experience. Because, I don't know, there's something, every time I hear that, I just hear such of a lack of humanity involved in all that. And I'm like, that just seems so cold. It feels so mechanical.
It
It just feels wrong to me in every sense of it.
Because I'm thinking of it, so let's say you walk into the park, you put these AR lenses on, and you're going, and the first thing you see is the animated cartoon Donald Duck walking and saying hi to you, talking, super interactive, and AI can take over there and have you interact with them, but you just can't touch them. You can't touch the characters now.
You can.
Oh. Well, okay.
They released all those rules.
Okay.
You can hug them now and do all that.
Okay, see, what's right? The hugging goes away. All of that goes away. I would
no.
I would be okay with it because I think it would be more immersive for me. Be like, oh my gosh, there's like cartoon characters walking around.
Well, now I think about it from the kids' perspective because let's be honest, the people who get the most experience out of this, I think, would be the kids.
Yeah.
I know adults still love to do it too, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's really the kids that benefit the most.
Oh, they do.
These characters that they've seen for all this time that have maybe helped them gotten through some hard things.
Yeah.
They can physically touch, get a hug from, get to experience like being
that
with
would take
them.
away humanity.
It would take the humanity out of it.
Yeah.
And then the whole time I'd be like, going to your AR Donald Duck thing. It's like, yeah, you could maybe talk to them, but they're going to have a predisposed list of things they can say.
Right.
So you're never going to be able to ask certain questions that you could ask these characters.
Right.
And they could, give an answer right then and there.
Right.
They wouldn't have that in their, like, even when I met with Mickey Mouse, they have a talking Mickey now. Even then, he's on a predisposition of what he's supposed to say. He can't deviate or veer from that. And that's with somebody actually still in there.
Right.
So, I just see that even bigger to where, like...
You use a lot of big fancy words. Predisposition. Dang.
Oh, I didn't realize I was.
That's fancy. Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, no, to me, it's actually being able to interact with a character and like actually having like a real conversation, even if it's a face character, not a face character, who can't audibly speak back to you.
Right.
They can at least get their point across, and the more I hear about people trying to make VR and AR so big, I just feel like a lack of humanity is there. Like,
it is.
I get a temporary escape, but for a couple hours and then you're out of it and go back to human interaction. I guess I'm extra prone to this because I work alone. So any human interaction, I'm just like, I need to cherish this. And especially after everything with 2020 and everything that happened with that, I'm like, I cherish all of my human experiences with other people, and I want more humanity in my life and less technology. That's why I'd be very against.
You bring up really good points because I believe, and this is just more from an emotional perspective too, a mental health perspective, is since 2020, our society has not been the healthiest it's ever been.
No.
And I think human interaction has gone down exceptionally.
Yes.
And because of that, I don't know if companies are trying to fill that void and trying to make a different reality and I don't know what's going on, but I can say that I agree with you that humanity, we as humans are built to interact. Yeah. We are social beings. We are social creatures. And the less we do it, the worse. I mean, it hurts us. Yeah. It makes depression, anxiety. It's a problem.
Yeah. And that's why I'm very much against AR, VR being a standard for our lives as a quick little escape. Right. Sure. It's fun. Outside of that, it terrifies me what that would do to like humanity.
Yeah. Oh, well, when social media first came...
Oh, social media has already done a number on us.
And it's destroyed social interaction between certain generations.
It has.
It's gone. Like this was so
And
funny.
I even had my own guilt about the fact that I feel like I'm partially contributing to the problem with my job.
It's not you.
But at the same time, I do my best to try to bring in as much humanity as I can.
I'll tell you this.
But I get that this is not a,
Right. Well, I'll tell you this. It's
me berating myself or anything.
No, I'll tell you this. It's not that, there are certain creators out there that need to stop, but your type of creator, no, you're not contributing anything to the lack of social interaction besides providing entertainment maybe, but that could be a movie or a TV.
Yeah.
That does the same thing. That's the same level of destruction of social interaction,
that's where I try
quote
to
unquote.
Stay. Yeah.
But what is hurting the social interaction between people is the technology.
Yeah.
Always being on your phone, looking at it, communicating that way, not having face-to-face interaction. All that's really unhealthy. Yeah. And now, which I really like, technology companies are going, we maybe messed up a little.
Yeah,
it's like,
too hard.
You did.
But then I'm sitting there going, then why are they pushing so hard on the VR and the AR stuff?
Because
to the degree that they are. Because I get the whole... Make some fun VR games. Cool.
Right.
Play it for a couple hours, go back to humanity.
Right.
But hearing stuff like, oh, we want to give you a pair of glasses that you can wear everywhere and change your scene wherever you are. I'm like, that terrifies me. Well, we're trying to create these workspaces where you can go to work virtually every day. That terrifies me.
Well,
like,
let me tell you right now,
I'm like,
that won't. I'm sorry, but that's just so. No one's going to do that.
I
First
hope
of all,
that fails.
It hurts my head after 2 minutes. So, friendo, unless you make something lighter, nothing's happening. The second thing I would say with Apple is they're going more towards AR. They're not as big in the VR. They're
even
really
then,
going towards AR.
I still don't like the AR aspect either, but I've already made my points on that.
But I'll say, like, I think it's important to have social interaction, if possible, if you can. And I think it's really vital to humanity. So I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
To say all that, wow, we went on a
tangent.
This was a serious tangent. I didn't mean to start it this way.
You said you had one more question?
No, man, I forgot. All this was so serious.
I thought that before. Well, when you brought me the idea before we started recording today, you mentioned one about video games specifically. Was that your other question?
No. Oh, yeah. This is actually another question. So, PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, all that, right? You have it. It's on your TV.
Yeah.
If these gaming companies said, you know what? The future of gaming is not on a TV. It's in AR or VR. What's your stance on that?
First of all, I don't think they would say that. Because
well, look at PlayStation.
Well, no, I was about to say they will add addendums to their games,
adjuncts to their
games. I see them doing that because obviously PlayStation 5 has already done that.
Yeah,
and I'll be transparent. I've already bought it. I pre-ordered it so that when it comes in, I'll have it. So obviously, I will support it on the game system because I already have.
Right. Yeah,
but it's like I don't think they'd ever go exclusively VR. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't think they would ever abandon the controller TV method 100% because, number one, VR is more like a fad than it is the future.
You think it's going to go away?
I think it's going to go away. I think it's maybe not for everything, but as far as video games go, I think it's a fad. I think it's going to be like, this is a cool addition. This is a cool, like... what's the word? A gimmick. It's a cool gimmick for a couple of specific games, but I don't think the industry will go that way and stay that way. I think it's going to be this is really cool. Kind of like 3D movies were.
Okay, really quickly, tangent.
Yeah.
I have an Oculus.
Yeah.
There's something called Meta Horizons, which is like a world in Facebook. Meta World, right?
Yeah.
I downloaded it. Just curious. It was a Friday. Or I forgot what day it was, but it was out there. And I log in, right? I went to the common space. Multiple common spaces. Desolate. Like, maybe 2 people were in there. And I was all like, wow, it is not going to take off like these people think it is.
It's going to be a fun
popular,
gimmick.
It would be crowded in there.
Right, because the thing is... It costs so much extra money to get the headset. It costs so much extra money to do that. Like, to get the VR stuff for your PS5, it's almost like buying a second PS5. It's not quite that expensive, but it's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
And even then, they've only got a handful of games you can do with it.
Right.
And, like, I did it because I'm obsessed with Horizon Zero Dawn.
Right.
And they have a VR game, and I'm like, well, I'm playing that. That's totally fine.
That'd be kind of cool, yeah.
I had enough disposable income, I could do that. But I don't foresee VR being that successful and that popular that PlayStation's going to go like, you know what? We're not making a PlayStation 6. We're making the PlayStation head and like make you like a head system that you can only play in VR 100% of the time.
Yeah, no,
I don't think
that would happen.
No.
First of all, I don't think the tech is there. And second,
no, the tech isn't there. And like I said, it's a fun gimmick because I can't see myself playing something like God of War in VR because that's like a 60-hour game, probably longer than that. And that would just drive me insane. Like, I've played some games on VR and they're fun, but I think the max length I've played them total for like a single game is probably like 5 or 6 hours. And at that point, I'm like, I don't want any more from that. I'm done. I'm done. So you can't have these giant games on there, but you can with the screen because you get a break. Right. With a TV screen, you can look around. You can set your controller down for a second without having to completely remove everything on your head.
I will say that VR, just looking really quickly, benefit-wise, is real. There are benefits to VR, especially in mental health and psychiatry. It's getting huge. Which is great because it's good for trauma, meditation, mindfulness, calm. It's fabulous. I use it sometimes for anxiety reduction because I'll sit there, go to this virtual space that does not exist in real life, and if it does, it's somewhere in New Zealand that I can't go, and sit in that space and do my mindfulness. But
yeah, and I can see that really being a benefit, and I think
that will take off.
I was about to say, I think VR will thrive there, but it won't thrive in the gaming industry. It'll be a fad.
Yeah,
I think we'll have it for probably a good 10 years of it being like, oh, this is a kind of a new thing. It might stick around after that, but more like an addition to
certain spaces. Not
in certain spaces, I think it'll stick around, but overall, I think the appeal is more of a fad than really the furtherance of technology.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, I agree there. Wow.
Because, I mean, we still have 3D movies on occasion, but let's be real here. The fad died.
Yeah.
The only, the last 3D movie I saw was the latest Avatar.
Yeah.
But that's the only one I've seen in, 6 years.
What needed was not needed. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I kind of liked it.
Oh, no. I kept taking mine off going, I have a headache. Taking it off. Have a headache.
Well, I did notice there was to go on that, when we saw it together in 3D, and there was actually a new technique that was done. When I was watching the movie, I knew something was off, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And it was because James Cameron actually changed up the frame rates within the movie. There's sometimes it's 60 frames a minute, and other times it's 30.
That's annoying.
I'm sorry, not minute. 60 frames a second versus 30 frames a second. And he would go back and forth depending on what you're doing. And with the 3D glasses, I noticed when he did it, and it was a little jarring.
Oh,
but without the 3D glasses, because I take them off, I'm like, oh, that looks like a normal movie. I put them on, it's like, no, this looks like a PS5 cutscene. Not the level of graphics, but just, it was almost too smooth.
Okay. Let's talk about that for a hot second. Avatar. There comes a point where 4K, 8K, and all the Ks, it starts looking like a homemade movie to me. It's too sharp. It's too crisp. It's too real.
It
just doesn't work. It's not a movie anymore.
At some point, I do agree with you. At some point, I think technology goes so far as to, it doesn't look real anymore. It's like you've overshot realism to get back into the uncanny valley. So it's like you've got uncanny valley, this little spot where it works really, really well, and then you go back into Uncanny Valley past that.
It doesn't make sense.
I feel like for the most part, I enjoyed Avatar 2 with that.
I liked the movie, but I'm telling you, Brian, there was some parts I'm watching it going, and I think this looks like someone got a camcorder out.
See that, but that was the thing. That was the thing. I was about to say, I don't know if it was our theater specifically, because every theater's a little different. Our screens could have been a little off, and it could have just been the 3D aspect of it, because I would like to watch it again in 2D.
But I've done it on your TV. You have a 4K. It's a nice TV.
It's an OLED, yeah.
And I'm telling you, there was some things I've watched on your TV where I'm like, I'm sorry. The reality, it overshot. I don't even know what this is. It looks too, if it makes sense, it looks too real.
Yeah, where it overshots into Uncanny Valley. Do you have an example of one of those? Just because I'm curious now.
No, I can't remember. You know me in movies. I can't remember crap.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was a movie or if it was a video game or something. Because video games, they do that.
It was a movie where I'm just like, this was shot in 4K. I get it. And, that's so cool. But now it just looks like you took it's like a homemade movie. It's too smooth. It's too real.
The smoothness gets me.
And I'm like, this just looks
it's
fake
like they
and real.
take out all the motion blur.
Stupid. Yeah, and that's the thing. Things like that make a movie to me. Like, that's I like that. Like that, it's visually stunning. Where I look at Avatar and I'm like, yeah, the environment's amazing, but this looks like you just took a homemade movie of an alien planet. That's what it looked like to me, because it was too real. And I'm like, no, this is. I don't like it.
I agree with the fact you can overshoot it. Once again, I'm not going to fault Avatar 2 that much because there's a lot of other factors it could have been. I'd like to watch it again, not in 3D.
Yeah.
Just to see if that's really what it was. Because when I took my glasses off, I couldn't tell the 60 frames anymore.
Way too
But
sharp.
with that 3D, I could definitely tell.
And smooth moving. Anyway, this was an interesting conversation.
It was.
Did not mean for it to go this way.
No.
That was interesting.
I feel like it got weirdly serious.
It did.
Because it was supposed to be lighthearted and
like,
random.
Oh, VR. But then I'm like, oh, okay, well, we just turned it into this. It was fun. Anyway, if you please write comment on if you want VR, AR, if you could actually live in that environment and work in it. I don't think I could. Obviously, Brian doesn't want to.
No.
And if you would prefer only games to be in VR, AR, let us know. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think of the podcast so far.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I was going in to my... Have you ever said something so much, which you have, like, comment, and subscribe, that it becomes just this rot thing that you say over, right?
Absolutely.
And it becomes like a thing. I was going into my private practice mode. I don't say like, comment, and subscribe, but it was that same type of, and I was going to say, do you have any comments, concerns, needs? Like, I was going right there. How can I better inform your care? Like, oh my God.
When I used to work at Cold Stone when I was in high school. And there was one time I just gotten so used to it. Part of our training was anytime someone walked through the door, you were supposed to say, "Hi, welcome to Cold Stone." There was one time I was at home. I was just doing something in the kitchen, and my dad walked through the garage, and I was like, "Hi, welcome to Cold Stone." And he was just like, "Did I go to the wrong place?"
You're like, sorry, Dad.
And I was like, "Dang it."
Did I ever tell you? Speaking of that, that's funny. When I worked as a 911 dispatcher, I was at home and I just got off a 12-hour shift and I was really tired. And I got home and the phone rang because when we had landlines, and the phone rang and I picked it up. I'm like, 911, what's your emergency? And my mom goes, hello? I'm all like, oh crap, Mom, sorry. And she goes, I thought I actually called 911. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm tired. I just got home. She goes, oh. There was one time, so my mom was a respiratory therapist for respiratory therapist, for years. She was like a respiratory nurse for years and years in the trauma centers. And one time she picked up the phone. I called her cell phone, and she picks up respiratory therapy. And I'm like, what? And she goes, respiratory. She was sticking to her guns. Respiratory therapy. Mom, it's your son. Why are you calling work? I'm not. I'm calling your cell phone. Oh my gosh. Like, she was so tired. She's like, I didn't even know where I was. I'm like, that's pretty funny, Mom. Good job. Anyway. Alrighty. Thank you guys so much for listening. You guys are awesome. Keep it
you are.
up. I was going to ask a question to them besides the VR AR thing, and I can't remember. Anyway. All right. We'll talk to you guys very soon.
Yes.
Another episode to be coming.
Yes.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? Have a good one, everyone. Bye. Ow, I hit your PlayStation. Bye.
Bye. Yes.